We've got some big updates for some Nintendo Switch games. The Xbox Series X gets an interesting leak and, well, someone's gonna get in a lot of trouble. And finally, we have a lot of rumored Nintendo Switch games, leaked Nintendo Switch games also coming out. So suffice to say, there's a lot of video game news to cover. What's going on, guys? I'm RGT85. If this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like the video. But without any further ado, we're just gonna hop right into the first piece of news. And the first piece of news obviously involves The Witcher 3 for the Nintendo Switch. Now, The Witcher 3 for the Nintendo Switch is still, I feel, probably the best handheld experience you can have on the Nintendo Switch. It's amazing that they fit all this game onto one single cartridge with all the DLC involved. Now, I didn't have any game-breaking bugs or anything with the game. I didn't really see many people saying that they had game-breaking bugs with the game, but it looks like there's been a patch in development for The Witcher 3 on the Nintendo Switch. Now, many people thought this was going to be a simply small patch that wasn't going to do a whole hell of a lot, but it seems like there might be something more to this patch that honestly has a lot of people excited. According to Saber Interactive, who of course is the company that handled the port of Witcher 3 on the Nintendo Switch, on one of their forms of social media, they said that The Witcher 3's patch is definitely worth the wait. So if this was a simple bug fix, if they were simply just doing much ado about nothing with this patch, I don't think they would have went out of their way to say something like this. And one thing that a lot of people are thinking is there could potentially be a graphical update for The Witcher 3 on the Nintendo Switch. Now, the graphics in the game were pretty solid in handheld mode, but once you started playing on your TV, they did look a bit blurry. They did look a bit muddy when it comes to different areas and different textures and things like that. But it's not outside the realm of possibility for companies to improve their graphics on a Nintendo Switch game after the game has come out. When you look at Doom and you look at Mortal Kombat 11 from the original release on the Nintendo Switch to the updated versions, they definitely improved the graphics in those games. Now, one thing that is interesting is that hackers found in a debug menu for The Witcher 3 on the Nintendo Switch that there were some graphical options that you could actually change. That's something we've seen in various games where you can have things like performance mode or high graphics mode. So could this menu system then be implemented into The Witcher 3 on the Nintendo Switch where people could switch it on the fly? No pun intended. I'm not quite sure, but it is interesting to see what this patch is going to entail. I'm sure it's not going to have any new content, but if it's going to be worth the wait, obviously it's something more than a simple bug fix. Next up, we have some Xbox Series X news to cover because the Xbox Series X is coming in 2020 alongside of the PlayStation 5. Now, there's been a lot of different rumors floating around about the PlayStation 5 over the past couple days. Honestly, I'm just kind of reading those rumors, but I haven't been reporting on them because there's just so much conflicting information, and I'm just kind of waiting on Sony to actually talk about what they're going to do with the PlayStation 5. Many people are anticipating that in the month of February, there's going to be an event to sort of showcase off what the PS5 is going to be all about, but the Xbox Series X, there's been a lot more tangible information about the system. Of course, the system was unveiled at the Game Awards 2019. We saw a game running on it with Hellblade 2. We of course have gotten subsequent information that there's not going to be any true exclusives for the Xbox Series X for the first year or two, as all of the games will also be releasing on the Xbox One to not abandon the Xbox One platform and the series of people that own an Xbox One. So it's been a very interesting thing going up and leading into more information. Well, some idiot decided to showcase off his little development kit for the Xbox Series X on Twitter, and now this you know, I wonder what goes through people's heads. Like, is that little bit of clout really worth it? Now, looking at the pictures of the Xbox Series X, you can see that this looks a lot like the system that was showcased off. It's pretty much a one-to-one replication of what they showed off. Usually development kits look a bit different than the actual final product, but in this case, you could see that at least upon first inspection, upon first glance, it looks exactly the same. So looking at this system, you can see there are a bunch of different ports on the back of the system. You have an HDMI out port, you have two USB ports, you have a port for your Ethernet cable, you have a port for your audio, you have a port for your power, and then you have a debug port next to it for development people that are developing games on it so that they could do different things on it. Now, one thing that is kind of interesting about this though is that there is no HDMI in port. Now, the Xbox One, of course, has an HDMI in port so that you could do things like set up a surround sound system, system or utilize your cable box alongside of your Xbox One. So it looks like the Xbox Series X is abandoning the HDMI import, which I never use anything like that. I know there are people out there that do like things like that. So for me, it's not a huge deal that this feature is missing from this system, that it looks like it's not going to be a part of the Xbox Series X. Some people might care though, so I did want to mention it. But really, the thing that makes me laugh the most about this is there's a freaking serial number on this development kit. So it's not like Microsoft is going to be like, oh, well, whose system is this? Oh, we got to go by the sketchy carpet on here that looks like it belongs in a murderer's house. No, there's a serial number right on there. So Microsoft is going to know who leaked this development kit. And yes, you're not supposed to show pictures of this. So honestly, this dude is probably going to get in a lot of trouble. I hope that little bit of clout was worth it, because it's just so stupid to me. Just keep it to yourself. Like, yes, it was kind of cool, you know, it got people talking about it, but the ramifications of it, the end result of what's going to happen to you, will not be worth it in the long run. So one of my most anticipated games for the month of March is Doom Eternal. Doom 2016 was absolutely awesome. I loved playing it on my PS4. I picked it up once again on my Nintendo Switch. I fell back in love with it again, and now Doom Eternal will be coming to the PS4, Xbox One, and PC in the month of March. But if you're only a Nintendo Switch owner, you are going to have to wait a bit. It seems like that version of the game has been delayed subsequently from the original delay that Doom Eternal got, moving it from 2019 to 2020. Well, in a recent interview with id Software's Marty Stratton, he actually spoke about the Nintendo Switch version of the game, why it's kind of taking so long, and what to expect from it. So Marty basically said the following: it's coming out a bit later than the game is on current consoles and PC, and really that's just because we want to finish the game on these platforms and then give Panic Button, our partner on it, the time they need to really pull these refinements into the Nintendo Switch version. It's not going to be a huge delay, but we haven't announced the launch time frame yet. But they are fantastic partners. They are masters of that platform. And speaking about the original release of Doom, Marty said the following: I played through it so many times, but playing it through on the Switch all the way through from beginning to end was one of my favorite experiences. To have it handheld and mobile was phenomenal. I think that's what we're really going to deliver with Doom Eternal, in all the same ways that Doom is fantastic on the current gen platforms. We are very uncompromising in bringing it to the Switch, and Panic Button is really on a great path. So it looks like this will probably be a couple month delay, maybe a summertime release for the Nintendo Switch. I do think it is disappointing. I do like to see day-in releases for all systems and all platforms when it comes to games like this. I will end up having to double dip on this. I'm definitely either going to get it on my PS4 or my Xbox One, and then check it out on the Nintendo Switch to see any sort of differences and see how the game compares to it, and of course to play with different people on different systems. But I'm definitely looking forward to Doom Eternal. It seems like the wait isn't going to be all that long, so hopefully it comes sooner than later. Hopefully an early summertime release, I think, would be a good position for Doom Eternal. And finally, we have some Nintendo Switch game leaks to talk about. 2 of these are rumored, 2 of these are pretty much confirmed, so let's talk about the rumors first. Now, both of these rumors are coming to us from Sabi over on Twitter. Sabi is a Twitter account that I definitely trust. They've given a lot of good information, and one of the things that Sabi talked about was a new Paper Mario game for the Nintendo Switch coming out potentially in 2020, and that it will be a return to form for the series. Now, the Paper Mario series is a beloved series. Everyone, I think, loves the first 3 games, Paper Mario on the N64, on the GameCube, and on the Nintendo Wii, but since then the games have been kind of crappy, I guess you would say, just a bit uninspired. They haven't really captured that essence of those first 3 games that many of us fell in love with. But a return to form for the series, I think, would be very good. When you look at the timeline of when we got the last Paper Mario game, it's been about 4 years, that of course being Color Splash on the Nintendo Wii U, so a new Paper Mario game makes sense, I feel. The next rumor involves Metroid. Now, of course, we've heard a lot of Metroid-related rumors since the Nintendo Switch pretty much has been a thing. Of course, Metroid Prime 4 was unveiled during E3 2017, but it seems like that game is in a bit of, well, development hell would be a good word for it. It seemed like Bandai Namco was originally working on the game. Nintendo didn't really like what Bandai Namco was doing with the game, ended up scratching the project and then moving it over to, of course, Retro Studios, who did the Metroid Prime original trilogy. So it seems like the game is in good hands, but as far as when the game is actually going to release, it's going to be quite a while. Now, since then, we've had subsequent rumors about Metroid Prime Trilogy HD coming to the Nintendo Switch, and potentially a Super Metroid remake coming to the Nintendo Switch as well. This was coming to us from someone named Leaky Pandy, who just doesn't really have a great track record. This was a bigger story at the end of 2019, but I just didn't think anything like that would come to fruition because Nintendo usually doesn't touch Super Nintendo games. They may build upon them, like we saw with A Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past and A Link Between Worlds, but they don't really rebuild those games from the ground up. But this new information is about a 2D Metroid game that is actually a sequel to a Game Boy Advance game called Metroid Fusion. When this information is also coming to us from Sabi, this is something that a friend of his told him that he very much trusts. So this is something that I think would make sense. 2D Metroid stuff has been rumored for so long. When you look at games like Metroid Dread and all this sort of stuff, we've gotten some recent 2D Metroid games. Of course, Metroid 2 got a new coat of polish on the Nintendo 3DS. Now, Metroid isn't a system that isn't a game that necessarily sells systems, but I think Metroid Fusion was an awesome game. So to see a sequel to this game, I think would be really cool. I would really be interested to see in what sort of graphical style they're going to use with this, but it seems like this could potentially be another Nintendo Switch game coming in 2020 or 2021 that has been leaked. Now, the next two things are more concrete stories. First off, we're going to talk about Square Enix and the Square Enix Collective, which is a Japanese publisher that basically helps with funding and publishing of smaller games under the Square Enix branch, kind of like you see with EA. Well, they are teasing some stuff for the Nintendo Switch. An announcement is coming this week for the Nintendo Switch of a new game coming to us from the Square Enix Collective. Now, as far as what this game is, I don't think anyone really knows. I would not expect anything big like a Kingdom Hearts game or anything like that, as like I said, this is a branch of Square Enix that basically just deals with smaller indie developed games, but it could be very interesting. Of course, Square Enix has done some smaller related projects like I Am Setsuna and Lost Fear on the Nintendo Switch, so who knows what this game is going to be. Square Enix is obviously doing a lot with the Nintendo Switch in 2020. You have Bravely Default 2 coming out, so it's always good to keep an eye out on Square Enix, and who knows, they might surprise us. And the final leak is about a new Mortal Kombat collection coming to the PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch called the Mortal Kombat Collection Online. Now, if that name sounds familiar, a couple years ago, this was a rumored project that was supposed to be coming to us from Blind Squirrel. Now, Blind Squirrel is, of course, the company responsible for WWE 2K18 on the Nintendo Switch, but it's not fair to blindly, no pun intended, hate the company just because of one bad game. If that was the case, we would all hate Nintendo for Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival on the Wii U. But it seems like the Mortal Kombat Collection Online was a canceled project, and it was canceled back in about April of 2019. Well, a new listing has gone up for a rating for Mortal Kombat Collection Online, and this also gives us some details about what the game is actually going to be. It is the original Mortal Kombat trilogy consisting of Mortal Kombat 2, and Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 with upgraded art, upgraded gameplay, and online features that provide an incredible experience that revive the classics with a K because it's Mortal Kombat. But I think this is very cool. I am all for more Mortal Kombat, and I think with the success of Mortal Kombat 11, it's definitely time to start looking at the older games as well, as they play very differently from what Mortal Kombat has become in the modern era. I'm definitely interested to see the new artwork in the game though. Is it going to be improved graphics? Are they going to pretty much rebuild everything from the ground up? I don't know, but I think that would be a really cool thing to give it a new coat of paint as far as the Mortal Kombat games are concerned. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of secrets in there as well. Could there be new characters? And price point is going to be important as well. But it definitely looks like the Mortal Kombat Collection Online is coming to all major platforms, including the Nintendo Switch, and hopefully we get a reveal of this soon. Maybe during a Nintendo Direct? Alright, so that is going to do it for today's video. Obviously, a lot of news to cover and a lot of things to talk about. So let me know in the comments section down below what you think of everything. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Check out other videos on the channel. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.